everybody, welcome to another episode On the Paint Table. This is my weekly show where you get to see what I've been working on, upcoming projects, and sort of like what my current to-do list looks like. So this week I finished a bunch of terrain, I worked on a bunch of terrain, and I painted a few models. I painted 7 models this week. So a model a day, still not too bad, but mostly what I was focused on today was crushing out a bunch of terrain for a new project I'm doing. The response was so great to Aristaya, which was my competitive Infinity sort of like series that I just started. My plan has been to start another series for Infinity 2 though that focuses more on casual and sort of bridging the gap between beginner and ITS gaming and Infinity. Infinity has a really steep learning curve, kind of punishes you when you're first learning the game. And a bit like a goldfish going in a bag to warm up going into a fish tank, I felt like it would be fun to write something to basically be a bridge between Operation Ice Storm and the Infinity ITS system. So I wrote a sort of supplement, an unofficial supplement for Infinity called Infinity Recon. If you're one of my Patreon backers, you can go check it out right now on Patreon. I just posted up the finished document as a preview for those guys and sort of a sneak peek into what's coming in the future. I'll be trying it today, but to do it, the other thing I wanted to focus on was basically my advice, or sort of my bridging on how to get into Infinity in the beginning, and a big part of that is terrain. And to focus on the terrain that you get in the starter set and the mats you get in the starter set from Ice Storm or any of the Army starter sets like the US Ariadne sort of, I think it's Apache base. Yeah, I think, no, Navajo base. Anyway, the terrain set that comes with the stuff for the US Ariadnes, and how great that stuff is, and how it can look great if you finish up a bit. So that was project number 1. Let's take a look at that because that's been finished. Project number 2, I got some great new stuff in, and I have a big date with Dave Taylor from Cool Mini or Not next weekend that I'm prepping for as well. So enough of my rambling. Let's take a look at what I got done. So thinking first, here's what I got assembled and painted that's finished for my Infinity Recon project. Now these are the Navajo base containers and buildings. I'm actually just gonna pick these up because this is all laid out nicely. These are the ones from Operation Ice Storm, and all I've done is I've mounted them on MDF. I've put the boxes inside that come with the game and come with various Infinity models. That's how you reinforce the interior. And then I've airbrushed it a little bit to just kind of matte the whole thing down. So these were spray painted gray. Everything was attached together, and this makes them nice and heavy so they don't move around during a game. They're solid, so if you put a guy on it, it would tend to bounce when it was empty because it's just a cardboard box. And it makes it so that this is basically just a very nice looking piece of terrain. The one thing I am going to do with these, I've done them with the other ones already, is I'm going to matte varnish them so they're not reflective with my lights, because you can see here as I move them around there is a line of reflection on them, and if they're a little matted down, they're not going to be reflective on camera. Now for these, what I did was I made a box that I put inside them to, again, make them not bounce so the guys can stand on top of them, and they're a bit more reinforced, and they're all hot glued together so that they can basically just be nice and heavy and sit there nicely during a game. And this is more than enough terrain to play a game. So this is just one of the 2 sets. I wrote the Recon package with the intention that you can either play it on a 2x3, which is roughly the size the mats are that come in the starter set Operation Ice Storm and the Navajo base for, I think it's Navajo base or it's Apache base. One of those 2 for the US Ariadnes. But it also accommodates 3x3. So this extra set of terrain, if you have another set of terrain, you have a 3x3 mat, you can play it on 3x3 as well. And then I just add a little bit of sparkle, a little dazzle, and that's in the form of some crates that I found in a box because I have random crates lying around. I've had these custom meeple roof toppers for a while too. You get these little, I painted these up, little radar dishes. I really like these. These are solar panels. So they're designed to like basically mimic like what a solar panel will look like on there. And it just gets a little bit of variety. There's this little electric box too with a ladder on it that you can just push up against things and give us a little bit of scatter terrain. The gantries are actually from the Comanche base by Warsenal. And I had to trim them a little bit because they won't fit on something otherwise. You trim off this little end here before you paint them, but it gave me a little extra detail to put in between things. So this kind of just shows, with a little bit of extra effort, what you can do with the cardstock buildings that come in the Infinity box and how that just makes a totally legit table. Like, this is going to be a really fun table to play on. I'm excited to play it on 3x3 as well after we play the first couple games and try the missions and show sort of what smaller scale games of Infinity can look like, and hopefully give people a way to warm up to the ITS missions and stuff. So that's the first thing I got done, is this terrain set. It'll also be another set of ITS terrain, so that Owen and I have 3 working sets of ITS terrain. Now if we want to run tournaments up to, I guess, 6 players. We've got the terrain to do that just in-house. Well, we can do way more than that with the studio terrain, but I don't want the studio terrain to travel anymore. I'd rather more robust terrain traveled and the studio terrain stayed here. Yeah, and that's going to be super handy for when we're running more events. And then miniature-wise, I finished these guys. These are a couple of preview samples of the new Kulkulkani for Dark Age. Now, Dave Taylor from Dark Age, from Kulkulkani or Not, is going to be coming up next weekend to film some games with me and show you guys off all the new stuff. But I figured I'd show you a cool model preview first. You got the Chosen Aquatle here, who are some dudes that have amputated their arms and had weird snake monsters attach to them instead. And they can either shoot venom with them, or they can actually just attack you in melee with them. And these are the Kachika, who are the followers of the new Ichel, I guess is Ixchel. It's a crazy name. They're like her followers, this moon goddess cult that's risen up in Kulkulkani. And they've also amputated their arms and got these, like, they basically become big solar batteries. They absorb the light of the sun and shoot it through these, like, the amplifiers, basically, that they've had grafted onto themselves. If you don't know anything about the Kulkulkani, they're an alien race. The reason that we had sort of like the Aztec civilization on Earth is because they contacted and harvested a bunch of those people in South America, and the reason they're on Adder, which is the planet from Dark Age, after it's abandoned, is they find sort of like a signal, or they hear a signature basically of their technology being used, and they come to reclaim it all. And so they're mad at the humans because the humans, I guess, stole some of their technology back on Earth, or some of our technology is based on their technology, and they've come to basically just wipe us out. But their whole thing is they use biotechnology, like bioenergy, the life force of living things, to power everything, and that's why mine are all painted with kind of some like bluish Tron lines. So you can see here they have like a blue kind of alien skin, but then all of their underlying surfaces are kind of glowing and stuff. And it makes them look super alien, which I like. So that's the Chosen Aquatle, the Kachika. This is an honor guard who's like a big bruiser that can guardian your stuff. And these guys are harvesters, which are basically kind of like husks from Mass Effect. They're like hollowed out dudes that just run around grabbing energy and are kind of like fodder, cannon fodder. So this is my first 7 models. Let's take a look. You can see in the upcoming pile some of the new stuff I have to paint for them too. So a few more things I need to paint for next weekend. I've got Ichel, which is the new, the Nocturnal Mother. there's Quetzal, who's the sort of the character from the Kulkulkani right now. She's his opposite. She's part of this moon cult, or moon goddess cult, which is kind of literally the complete opposite of what he stands for. And this is most of her faction stuff, which is the new stuff being released. This right here is a Doomseer. He's on a 50 mil base, and he rides this big, it literally looks like an Aztec calendar that has chainsaw blades on the side that he rides like Teen Wolf on top of a van. So I'm pretty stoked to paint that. He's like one of the big base models. The Quatlanak, which is the baby version of the Quatl, which is, or Quatlai, which is the big bird thing from the Kulkulkani, and he's a 40 mil base guy, but he like pops up out of the ground, which is pretty cool. This is a Devoted Priest. He's like your kind of does everything medic wizard dude that'll support her medic wizard duty stuff. And then a Chukak, who's a big construct that shoots laser beams out of his arms. I'm gonna paint too, he's pretty neat. And then finally the Cabricon, which is the huge 80 mil base murder thing, needs to get done. So these 6 models I'm gonna try and get finished. I got lots of time, I got like over a week, so they're gonna get assembled and airbrushed up and painted too, and that'll give me a nice, about 1,000 points worth of K3 stuff to play around with for when Dave comes up, so we can play a bunch of games and you guys can see all the new stuff off. I have more too. I've got like a war chief and tribal warriors and more priests and more harvesters that I'll paint up eventually, but I wanted to showcase all the new stuff first, so I'm just painting that sort of in preference. And then, and this is only part of it because I couldn't fit it on the table. We've got this, which is the new modular MDF spaceship train from Overos Train Studios, and it's being made by Every Little War, which is a train production facility from California in the US. I've got it all assembled. You can see it's in 6x6 cubes. There's also some 12x12 cubes, and they're working on making an ITS room attachment for it too, so you can play full Infinity games on it. But it's supposed to like showcase off either like the interior of a building, a starship, an underground lab, like something with lots of corridors, and you can rearrange this however you like to basically make the corridors as you want. I built it with the bottoms dropping off so that I could paint the bottoms separately and make them a different color. I think that makes it really pop. These little, I have to pull off the stuff because this is expanded a bit from the spray paint. But they've got the backing on them still. These little doors slide in and slide out, so that you have some like kind of Star Trek-y swoosh doors that can go in and out on top of it too. And I'll be working on this in the coming weeks because I want to play Recon on it. And I almost have enough of it to play Recon. I'll have to make some deployment stun extenders or something like that to play on it. But it'll be another thing that we can play some small scale Infinity games on, which I'm pretty excited about too. So that's coming up, and really that's my to-do list for the next week or so. Other things coming up in the future, but you know, it's all like needs must. We do this as we have to have it done, sort of like for our deadlines. Another week done, another bunch of projects finished, another bunch of projects coming up. So I hope you enjoyed that look. I'm super excited to be filming both this new Infinity thing, because it's just another way of playing Infinity. I like trying new things, and I like making new things too, as well as doing some more Dark Age stuff for the K3. I hope you guys are excited too. We'll see you next week for that On the Paint Table. Until then, I'm Ash. Happy wargaming.